Hello, this is John with Theology Ed. Let's go ahead and take a look at IPEC Go 2 again. I'm going to do this quickly. This video is a little different than some of the other ones. We have some new information about IPEC Go 2 that's very interesting, I think, and confirms the July 5th Buck Moon as a date of interest here. And not only does it confirm that date from IPEC Go 2, we also have independent work that was done about a year ago that I didn't know about that is really interesting by a guy named Robert Wissenbach. I think I pronounced that correctly. If not, I'm sorry. Here is his channel, Robert Wissenbach. I went to his channel after he subscribed, and I saw that he was making videos last year in around this time in July here. And the video that caught my attention, and I haven't even watched the whole thing yet. It's only 7 minutes, but I was so captivated by one or two of the things that he was saying. I thought, this is fantastic. Maybe I actually did see the whole thing. But either way, now it's really good video. I liked it. You see that. And a lot of people liked it. Only one person disliked it. And it said, IPEC GOAT, Economist 2015, and possible events beginning July 2nd, 2019 week. And the research he was doing last year, obviously this didn't pan out. It's 2019, but that's not a big deal. That doesn't mean the research wasn't quality. It was interesting research, good research, and I think in the ballpark of right. This is just part of the game. You know, if you're going to do this sort of work, there are going to be times where you're going to think, well, maybe that's right, and you're going to have some valuable stuff to say, and it's just going to be slightly off. So it doesn't mean that the research wasn't good. It was good. So I would recommend you still take a look at that video, understanding that it was work done a year ago, but it was valuable, and it confirms that independent work done. Me this year, I didn't know he existed. Him last year, he clearly didn't know I existed. He was before me, ahead of me. So independent work was being done that had some similar conclusions for similar reasons, and I'm going to show this. He was identifying things a year ago that were right there on point. Just had a few little details wrong that meant that some of the connections weren't perfect. And I'm sure we'll find cases where I'm also in that same boat when dates pass or whatever. But let's go ahead and take a look. So here, remember, we have the calendar. We have the 12 months. We have the girl in the middle. In 2017, this was the August eclipse right there on the August head, and she was representing the alignment with the woman clothed in the sun, with the moon at her feet, and so on. That was 2017. 2020 comes around, and we have the calendar being repurposed, reused, I think, for the central purpose of the video, to highlight events on and surrounding, before, after the June 21st, 2020 solstice eclipse on Father's Day. And she is, in this case, representing the moon eclipsing the sun. Okay, and so we had the months, January, February, March, April, May, June, and April's pinkish because of the pink moon, and when it goes dark, you see the pink light above April. And the rabbit here is the buck. It's a buck. A male rabbit is a buck, and that represents the buck moon at the very beginning of July. It's the first full moon after the solstice eclipse. Okay, and you go over, and there's your buck moon, and then you have the rest of the year. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know the importance of the June 21st eclipse and buck moon has been featured repeatedly for, I think, compelling reasons. Okay, and I repeatedly say in my videos that I don't necessarily think things will happen on these dates, either the June 21st, the July 5th. I think they can begin sooner. In fact, if you want my personal opinion, and I'll probably create some videos explaining this for other reasons outside of IPEC Go 2, I'm inclined to think things may also take off in May. Okay, but that's for other reasons, and now I can get into that another time. But we have I've mentioned that I don't think the dates necessarily are going to be the events happening on these dates. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. It could just be rituals that they'll perform, but I do think this will mark these celestial events will correspond roughly to the events in this video, okay, in IPEC Go 2. But let's go ahead and look at what he found and see how we can learn from it, and it can help us even today make progress. So we're familiar with this scene. Okay, this is a scene where we see oil running into the water and so on. I'll explain this a bit more later. I think, again, it's related to land that used to be there not being there probably, and it's clearly an oil event. And again, it may be a dual purpose sort of thing, because there may have been an application of some of this in 2017 after the eclipse in August with hurricanes and rain, with you see in the lightning rain and all of that. So J.K. Bugout did a lot of work on it at the time. Excuse me. But Robert did some really interesting work too as well. Not only do we see rain in the lightning, you can see the R-A-I-N, okay, rain. He sees an NY. That's interesting. He also calls this cloud the bunny-looking cloud. Bunny or rabbit-looking cloud. I think it's a bunny, but I don't remember. Either way, the point is the same, okay? He's identifying a cloud as a rabbit-looking or bunny-looking cloud, and then he looked over here and he says, we have a date. We have a date here. This is a 7 and a 5. Now, he was looking at 2019. He wasn't identifying the rabbits in the sky with the buck moon, and the rabbit being a buck in the calendar here. He didn't do that. But what he did do is he recognized, these are screenshots from his video here. This, he put up the buck. He says the buck moon in July is important. He was looking, I think, July 2nd in 2019. That's why events beginning July 2nd. In other words, events beginning on the date of the buck moon. So he's associating the events of the video with the buck moon. That's really interesting. He did that based on the buck in the classroom. If you remember the video in which I was talking about first introducing this as a buck, I mentioned the buck over here gives us a hint that this is a buck. We're supposed to understand this rabbit as a buck. So again, we're seeing a similarity here. Here's a screenshot from his videos. You can see where he puts 7-5 as a date. He's pointing it out. He's like 7-5. He was recognizing two important features of this frame of the video, of the film, IPEC-02. And he's saying, we have a bunny and we have 7-5. That's really interesting, I think. Okay? And he says other things too, and I'm sure, maybe in his other videos too, I'm sure there's something valuable. He's a sharp guy. That if we take a look here, he's identifying things that are relevant, and he was having a tough time figuring out exactly how they connect. And that's not a strike against him. That was a year ago. It's hard to know to look at the next year. And so again, maybe that's something we all should learn from this too. That 2020, we have this eclipse. We have these things happening. The progress of the video, like I've said before, may take years. It would be great to take a look at the calendars and see, can we find 2021 there, 2022, 2023? What else could be there years in advance so that we're not finding out a month and a half before, 2 months before, 4 months before when we're thinking about the current year? But either way, that's, I think, a really interesting observation. Good work to him a year ago even, and ahead of me. So that's fantastic. And I'm going to put the link down to his video below, and people can check it out. I don't know his channel. I don't know if he has like crazy views about other things. I have no clue. But his work in this video is really interesting, and congrats to him for that. So there you have it. That is the main. That's all I'm going to do right now. So like, subscribe, take a look at his video too, and have a great day, great Lord's Day. Take care.